Talking about you got this and you got that, and you gonna murder this one and murder that one. Talking all that bullshit. I'm gonna put it to you like this, yo.
This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me. I bet you wish you was me, I know that I know.
What is poppin', everybody? And welcome back to another special episode of the Only Friends podcast. Well, you know, it's me and my only friends, which includes, but is not limited to, the homie, Jesse Sylvia. What's poppin', Jesse? How you feeling today?
He's repping the brand.
Bro, that was the most chill, subdued intro. I'm not hating. I actually really loved it.
Sometimes, you know,
I prefer it.
the alcohol brings the best out of him.
It's the golf, Connie.
Yeah.
I've only seen a few of these, in studio, and that really threw me into that was like a curveball right there.
There was no hand rub either.
Yeah.
Usually we get a hand rub. Did you hand rub, Connie, on that one?
I might have been too late. That's why, we went with that voice anyway.
Maybe the hand rub is like when you start up a lawnmower. He needs that to really get.
Yeah.
Normally, I do it.
You have range, my friend.
Connie Birdman.
I kind of prefer it. I think
You got range, bro.
I think he gets me a little too fired up, and by fired up I mean angry. Whenever he screams "Tortue" at the top of his lungs.
Love it.
Well, fortunately, he's not here because he's playing the mini main from the start.
He's passed away.
The real champ he is.
Right. He passed
Turtle
away.
in the mini main, tortoise in the mini.
His desire to be there from hand one in these horribly structured events is a real testament to how desperately he wants it. I mean, he fucking wants it, man.
Is it even smart?
I mean, it's not smart.
It's not smart, yeah.
I mean, there's a clear, gap of time between, playing from, the very start to, save brain capacity. Because, you're just playing for days on end.
Bro, what brain do you fucking need to play the mini main?
Or to play aces.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally go sit there and wait until you get the aces.
Blessed be those who sit and wait.
I have a question about the scramble tomorrow. Is it the same thing for a scramble as it is a regular tournament? So in other words, max late regging a scramble, is that good, bad?
I think with
different?
I think with satellites it's better. Am I wrong? The accumulation portion of the tournament just doesn't matter.
I mean, you have to get chips, obviously, but
it doesn't matter when.
To the money. I mean, being close to the money is always good.
Right. That's why I think it's better because the ROI is fixed.
I would imagine late regging satellites is slightly better, yeah, than max late regging.
Well, because the give and take with max late regging a tournament is better hourly, worse ROI, but the ROI is fixed in a satellite.
Yeah.
So it's just, do you cash as often or more often when you max late reg? And I would assume the answer is probably yes.
Yeah, I mean the pay structure doesn't incentivize as much chip accumulation, right?
Right.
So,
yeah.
I mean, which is basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
Just repeating it and sounding.
So late
smart.
regging is okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's always
Yeah, I mean, it's always honestly I feel like doing what Turtle does, signing up on time, or max late regging are probably your two best options. Especially when the structure isn't perfectly thought out, so that there's a lot of value in max late regging. And what you shouldn't do is what I do, where you get up and show up at 4:30 or so. It's kind of the middle range of the tournament. I don't think that's actually very efficient.
How bad can it be?
It feels good on the soul.
Yeah.
put
You
it
show
that
up.
way.
You show up when you get there. When you get there.
Yeah.
You show up, you got 35
Did you ever get there to the mystery bounty last night? I tried dragging you out of that fucking down bad 5-10 limit game.
5-10 limit game.
10-20? I don't know. You're using $10 chips.
Oh, you have to understand the psychology of limit players.
I hate you all.
They use the smallest chips that they possibly can for the stakes so that every pot looks massive.
I hate it. I hate everything.
So if you
about
play 40-80, use $10 chips. If you play 81-60, use $20 chips. So every pot is 150 chips.
This is so stupid.
Yeah, we love it.
What is the matter with you?
Yeah.
So you didn't leave the game. The game was too good.
We had 15 games in the mix, and I was having a great time. I had legitimately not played half of them ever.
You're a fucking wreck.
Yeah, I'm loving it.
How'd you do?
I lost slightly.
Oh, okay.
The real treasure is the friends he made along the way.
There's no
It
part
really
of
was, Landon.
A lot of friends in the limit pool.
There's no part of you that stokes your competitive fire. You see me cashing out 3 racks of fucking 1K chips. There's no part of you that's like, what am I doing here? Clicking buttons for $10 at a time.
I think the idea is that my competitive fire will eventually be stoked when I can play when I have the option to play big in both environments, right? Because realistically, you could play the biggest in mixed games, but there's a huge gap between the small stakes and like the super high stakes. Like there's no real in between. There is a $400 game, but I don't know if it's fully public at the Bellagio.
Okay, that's the one that Donkey plays in. No,
I think so. It's
I think they
I'm not
bigger.
sure if he's in there, but it's
you just gotta get in the crazy
Alan's
Mike
game.
mix.
Yeah, what's that? What stakes is crazy?
Who
Mike's
knows?
game? Yeah,
Who knows? Doesn't matter.
I don't
It's
think
gotta
they
be-
depends on how
It's
Mike's
got to be a
doing
good game, and you're certainly worse than them, so they'll let you in for sure. But yeah, probably 2-4 or 3-6, I would imagine.
All right,
Which is
I
like
this.
What's this the equivalent to in no limit stakes? Like 510, 1020?
What 300, 600?
Yeah, maybe more like 2550.
No, it's bigger. It's probably like 5100.
Okay.
I would say it's between a quarter and an eighth size.
All right. Yeah, you're gonna get you in the mix.
Yeah.
He'll get in there.
Ain't
A little
watching
more
you
time with
splash
them.
around $10 chip. I'm like, Jesse, there's a $10K mystery bounty right across the street. Like, yeah, but Badesi, bro. Badesi. Like,
I really got them
It's
in
a
a couple
made-up
of
word.
the Badesi hands.
Of course you
Badoosi
did.
hands. Sorry, Badoosi
oh,
hands.
okay.
Razdusi.
Jesus
all kinda-
Christ. I don't even know what any of this stuff means. It's so sad. We are going to be talking a lot of mixed games today, though. So we had to bring in the resident specialist a day early, as one Scott Seaver is putting on a fucking clinic. He's leading the Player of the Year race. We have a lot to talk about with regards to Player of the Year. We got some other fun stuff to catch up on first. Landon died, unfortunately. A very noble, maybe an unnoble death. I'm not really
Ignoble.
sure.
All right, we'll just call that one painful.
Very painful death. An excruciating death.
That was a tough one.
Chip bleeding on the bubble.
Yep.
Chip bleeding post dinner.
Yep. Around there. Probably close.
Busted 88th.
Yep.
Lost a pretty key flip, Jack's Days King, for
Yeah.
30.
I did.
And then got the last 38 in with Kings versus King Queen suited.
Yeah.
Dead.
Gone.
That's unfair. That one's unfair. Not even, I mean, like, I get it. You're living it. That's tough. But from my perspective, that pot is probably worth 100K in EV in the event, which means that
Maybe
about,
each of them.
which means that about like $275,000 worth of EV was taken right out of my pocket.
Yeah. You have extra. You have more
I'm
than
not
me.
happy.
Like, did I lose the spot? Yeah. But did you lose more? Yes.
Yeah.
You did.
Who do I need to talk to have you fucking hold in a goddamn 9-1 spot?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got that with against Jesse with aces to king queen off. That's where I won the big
Right.
one.
Did you?
Wait, who is this against?
Jesse in the WPT. Like, not in this tournament. It was in when I got second in.
At the final table, he held with aces versus King Queen off, is what he said.
Oh, you held.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they took it away with this one. He went perfect. Honestly, like, if he flopped a flush and I was dead, it's like, okay, like that's sad. But like perfect is so tilt.
Well, not perfect.
It was 9-7 deuce.
Yeah.
Jack, 10.
Yeah, but he could have turned the 10 or the jack.
Sure.
You know. Along those lines, what the fuck was that? Oh, did you text your significant other, Becker, and let him know how good
did I
he's
let him
running?
know how good? No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I was like, nope,
No.
it's over.
It's over.
He was like,
You have no idea how good you run, bro.
yeah, he was like, I was getting worried there, and I was just like, you should be. You should be very worried. Still a
He
little
should
bit
be
left to
counting
this.
down the days until this bet ends.
Yeah.
Still got the main.
Yeah, there's the main
Save it for the main.
big tournament. Yeah, save it for the main.
You
I mean,
two,
this was big enough as a main, man. First was 2.2.
yeah.
It was a huge fucking tournament.
Well,
Wait, so can
according to the YouTube chat, you shouldn't be playing this event because you reached the cap prior to winning the tournament. And,
Right, because the 2.2 million up top doesn't matter to me at all.
right. You should also skip the main event,
Right.
according to the
Probably
chat.
a bad idea because it doesn't hit the crossbook. There's probably some good dailies somewhere else.
Wasting your time, actually.
So in terms of the bet, you're capped at what's the number?
250K per event.
Okay, but if you brick the tournament, the whole 10K goes towards your running total.
Correct.
Yeah, so like strategically, it's really bad for the bet. But
Thank you, Jesse.
Well, it's not.
obviously, like you're out there trying to make money too.
I don't think that's true either. So it's 250K profit, not like if he played a 250K buy-in and min cashed, he would not get $0 towards the crossbar.
Yeah, but you're really hurting yourself if the top end payouts of the tournament aren't
Doubled.
within what you can win, because like a lot of your ROI in any tournament is final tabling or finishing in the top. That's like kind of what separates every tournament player. So I think it's like a pretty big hindrance to not be able to win any of like the top spot prizes.
Well,
Plus like the fact that you're losing 100% of your buy-in, but you can't win 100% of the prize pool, and you can't win like the most important top part of the prize pool, I think takes like a huge percentage.
well, you can win it, you just can't double it. But I understand what you're saying. Like what you're saying obviously is relevant. But I think the counter to that is that you can hit the cap in less time than needed. So like for instance, this win one, if you just final table, you hit the cap. It's the same, if not less, of a time constraint. So like you're not missing other events as an exchange. Like an extreme example would be you play a 250K buy-in and min cashing hits you the cap. That might only take 1.5 days.
Yeah, but you're still in the tournament when you min cash. Like you're still spending time in it.
Yeah, sure. But you don't necessarily have to be, is my point. Like you could just be.
He's not going to drop out of
No. I'm not saying he's going to like purposefully lose. I'm just saying like you could be eradicated, kicked out of the event.
It's not great, but I'm
like,
still going to play the tournament.
Like think of the counter, right? So the counter to this, and maybe it's to a lesser degree, but like playing events where first place is less than the cap, I also think would be kind of foolish.
Yeah, but it's I think it's better because you have a 1-to-1 ratio in your buy-in tier. Like for instance, let's run a hypothetical where Landon played against a second Landon who plays the exact same as him, and one of them plays whatever they want schedule throughout the summer with these rules with the cap, and then the other one only plays 1Ks with exactly 200K to first. Like you're clearly taking the second Landon.
Yeah, but the right, yes. So
that's kind of what's happening now to an extent, but
not really. The framework through which you're operating is obviously correct in the nuts and bolts of the focus on the bet, but like the spirit of the cap and the reason for it is because almost no event will yield less than or equal to the cap at first. So if you're playing series events and then like buy-ins above 1K, almost all of them are going to be greater than the cap for first place. Because like mixed games aren't a part of it, right? So there's very, very, very few, with the exception of like I think like the Poker News. No, even the Poker News Deep Stack was like 250 to first-ish, I think.
Yeah, it was.
So like the $600 buy-in ones are like the only ones that it's less than the cap to first.
But there's a pretty massive difference between playing a 2K with like 350 up top and playing a 10K with like 2 million up top, because like your example is actually like the best example of why this is an issue. If you played a 250K where, you know, you can only double your profit when you min cash, but you're only min cashing 10% of the time.
right.
And some guys like playing 1Ks where there's exactly 250K up top. Like you're just going to get torched because your top end is just like so capped.
Yeah.
Like,
You're expanding out the loss.
Let me ask you guys a question. Because, like, there's 1Ks all around town, like, every single day. Say the win nightly. Let's just say the win nightly.
Yeah.
Do you think it's better for Landon, like, somebody to strictly play the win nightly with 140 up top? Or what is it? I don't know what it gets, 100?
The win nightly, the turbo yesterday got 80K up top.
All
It's
right,
somewhere around
so-
50 to 80, depending on the traffic.
That's a lot shorter than I was thinking. All right. Let's say, like, there was a daily that gets 100K up top, right?
But like that's the point, is that there aren't those things. Right? Like that's the biggest point, is that the bet was that they're going to play their schedules. And when you look at the schedules, there isn't a schedule where you can play every single day and have like cappable events that don't go that far over, like that don't go exceedingly over.
Yeah.
But Jesse's point's valid in the sense that like if you're playing a 1500 where first is $1 million and you don't have access to that portion of the prize pool, it's not that big of a deterrent because the downside risk is so small.
Yeah.
Right. But the downside risk of a 10K is obviously much greater.
Well, yeah, and like the 250K example, you can either, because you're capping it at 250, you can either win 250 or lose 250.
Yeah.
So you're 10% of the time you're doubling your money,
And most
then
of the time
90%
you
of the time you're
lose.
losing your money.
Yeah.
Whereas like this guy's 10% of the time he's doubling his money, but then some part of that 10% of the time he's like 100xing his money.
Right.
So his ROI is like, I mean, you just capped your ROI at nothing essentially, or at negative.
In the extreme example, yeah, but I don't think
Yeah.
that's true in like the soft 10Ks. Like in the
Well,
main
it
event,
just scales down, right? So like it's
Yeah.
less and less
but
important.
it works both ways.
I mean, it's
It,
bad.
it works both ways, right? Like when they both play like the 10K win, let's say that player A is winning, has like a 20% ROI, and player B has like a 10% ROI.
Yeah.
There's still a delta there, right? Player B might go to 0, player A might go to 10. But like, so long as there's overlap between the two, like it becomes bad whenever only one of them plays it. Right?
Yeah. I mean, if like the spirit of the bet is you're gonna just like both play the best tournaments all summer, then you're fine.
Which is
I just
what
meant like
has been
you
going
could
on.
strategize it to like, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, like he played the Mystery Bounty, which is like a tournament that he's going to do really well in or very poorly.
Yeah.
Like he bricked it, which is going to happen most of the time. Just like when I bricked the 10K Super Turbo Freeze Out Bounty thing, and like these spots are we're kind of just like we would have played the tournament anyways, and like it's kind of like could be a bloody spot where if he bags a ton and gets 4 bounties, he just wrecks me.
Yeah. This is why I like when these bets are not bet between the actual participants and are like outside sources betting. Like let's say you and Negrano are
Institutional
betting.
money.
Well, that
Yeah,
is what
like-
happens.
Well, yeah, okay. So like let's say Landon and him have nothing on it. So then
They basically don't.
okay, that's like perfect in my mind because then they go about their schedule. You guys are just speculating on your side. Like one of my favorite spots that I've ever seen somebody take, because I think it's just like a cool example of like being sharp at gambling, was do you guys remember the year that Mercier had the 3 bracelet
Yeah,
bet?
of course,
So,
of course.
With Vanessa, right?
yeah, and well, he came out and he just started taking up bracelet bets with everyone. And he said you could take any player on the planet against me, and we'll do 1-to-1 bracelet bets. And after he ran out of action, after he had enough action, a lot of people wanted Steven Chidwick. I think the consensus idea was that Chidwick was better at mixed games than him. After he ran out of action that he wanted, my friend Ankush basically came out and was like, I'll take more of action if Jason Mercier doesn't want any. And
You're saying Jay filled all the action.
yeah,
he
yeah,
wanted.
exactly.
Okay.
And at first I was like, wow, this seems like a bad side because, Chidwick could just be better. But then if you think about it, like, because Jason's in the bet. And
Right, he has so much on himself.
Yeah, and Chidwick is going to play under ICM constraints at final tables because he has no bets, whereas Jason's playing for first. So all of a sudden, like, you have this tremendous advantage in terms of like trying to win bracelets. The more money that Jason put on bracelet bets, the more plus EV he is in those bracelet bets, assuming the other guy doesn't care.
Yeah.
Chidwick had no money on himself.
Right, yeah.
And I just thought that was like, that's easy to dissect later on, but like to figure that out on the fly, you get a bunch of money down is very
It's
sharp.
like just
in my
because
mind.
he's better doesn't mean he wins. It means he gets like seconds and thirds and fourths and
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
does really well.
Like 3-handed, if he's short, and another guy's short, like that. See it right there. Like that's going to be a huge difference in how he plays.
Jason did well. He did well in this, right?
Jason won 2 bracelets and then
He
gave
got a second.
Yeah, he gave everyone a lot of sweats, dude. There was
Yeah.
like another tournament I think where he got like 11th, where he had a bunch of chips.
It's crazy. I don't even think he sniffed player of the year that year.
Where was it?
That's a whole nother conversation I'll save for another time. But I don't particularly love the player of the year.
Well, today's the day to have it, buddy, because that's all
true.
we're talking about. Do you recall what year that was? I think it was either the Merson year or the Ben Lamb year.
It
Either
definitely
11 or
wasn't
12.
the Merson year.
Maybe it was.
No,
later?
this was later on. This
It
much
was?
later. Yeah, because Merson year was like
2012. It was
I didn't even really play full schedules at the series until after that.
well after you're rich.
Yeah, well, that and you get a taste of those tournament scores, baby. You get addicted. All of a sudden, you're out there late regging for the 5th time in something.
I was surprised to
I can
see this
relate.
and see that Scott's not just absolutely running away.
Okay, so it was 2016.
Osmus has
The player of the he did win. I'm an idiot. I'm so dumb. Of course he won player of the year that year.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know why. I had no recollection of him winning it. And I was
Well, you
I've
ever-
been good friends with Jay for 15 years. I truly don't remember him winning Player of the Year that year. It's kind of crazy. I'm guessing he just ran away with it too. Let me see. Yeah, he. I mean, I shouldn't say smashed it, but he beat Volpe by 200 points.
Ooh, Volpe.
Wow, Max Silver came in third. How things have changed.
What did Max win that year?
He got 10th in the 5K Turbo, 12th. I mean, it looks like. Let me see. 12th in the 10K PLO, 33rd in the main. That's crazy. He didn't even make a final table.
At all?
And he was third in the POI.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I don't
those
know
are
what the
different-
scoring system was that year, but that's fucked.
Those are different times.
Yeah. He literally just made a day 7 in the main event. They're like, put you third. Actually, come to think of it, I think the year that I made 3 final tables, I got 3rd, 5th, and 5th, I think, if I recall correctly. I'm pretty sure that a deep run in the main could have gotten me Player of the Year that year, which is insane to think about in hindsight.
By the way, Helmuth was leading Player of the Year 2 years in a row.
2 years in a row, 11 and 12.
One year he needed Ben Lamb not to finish top 3 in the main, and he got third. And then the next year he needed Greg Merson to not win it.
Win the main, and he won it.
Helmuth is a legend, bro.
It's unreal. It's truly remarkable that could even be. I mean, like, you know, we're obviously sweating the Player of the Year this year because it's such a tight race right now between Seaver and Osmus. But yeah, like those 2 years may have been 2 of the most exciting years that you could imagine, specifically because Helmuth did ultimately fall to 2 no limit players who had the exact same resume, not the exact same, but like a very similar resume with how they went about doing it. I believe Benba, he won the he won the 10K PLO championship, I think, and then got like some final table of the 10K 6 max.
By the way, I think Benba said that he played like 6 tournaments that series.
It's true.
Like that. Yeah,
it's true. I remember
and Greg also didn't play very many.
Right.
I played cash with him every day that year.
Same.
Yeah.
That was.
They were playing limit.
We were playing wiffle ball at the B.
Yeah.
But no, for Ben, I remember he won the 10K PLO, hopped in the 10K 6 max, which was the final event. This used to be a staple. It was the final event prior to the main. Hopped in that, and I just remember day 1, he gambled it up similarly to Landon, jamming king queen suited into like kings or aces, won, and then never looked back. And I think he got like 3rd or 4th in the 10K 6 max, and those were like his only 2 cashes at that point.
This is Benba?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then obviously just like wades his way through the main event to get 3rd and dethrone Helmuth, who put together like quite the series that year. Where he just
Honestly, as someone that doesn't care about Player of the Year, I find that fun. But I get why people don't like it.
I mean, the thing is like,
It's like this guy's like such a great series, and Ben's just like, well, you know, I'm just gonna like find a way.
but like what Ben did was the talk of the. I remember that. I don't remember what Helmuth did. I think he got 3 seconds that year actually.
Well, that's why,
which is really fucking sick.
Yo, that would have been such a fun year.
It's such a troll.
Yeah.
You get 3 seconds and you lose out on the Player of the Year.
second
to Bemba.
place. Yeah,
Nobody on the planet can hold a candle to how much he cares about the gap between 2nd and 1st in a tournament.
That's
and he
true.
got 3 seconds.
It's true. So yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Helmuth got 2nd in the 10K deuce to 7, 2nd in the 10K 7 card stud, and then 2nd in the PPC, which is so sick.
Yeah.
To lose to Ben.
Only to lose to Ben, who won the 10K PLO, got I believe 3rd in the 10K 6 max, and then 3rd in the main event.
By
But
the
like
way,
when you compare those two, I mean, Ben's resume there is very impressive. It
Yeah.
just so happens he only played 5 events.
Yeah, you happen to go 3 for 5. Phil went
Yeah, it's
3
like-
for 30,000.
by the way, the next year, Greg's run, from Helmuth's perspective, is really brutal because Greg had 1/5 in like the 4 max tournament and really no other scores.
By the
And then
way,
with 2 tournaments
only
left,
summer that they ran that event, and it was incredible.
oh yeah,
the
it was
4
such
max.
it was such a good tournament.
What a fucking joyous
I think
you know-
format.
you know
I
who
feel
won
like
that?
they did it the next year,
Uh-uh.
maybe.
Tim Adams.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Timothy.
Yeah.
I only know this because of secret, like, unnecessary lore.
Anyway, you.
Oh, you know what's sick about that, by the way? Greggy and Timothy apparently were like swapping and everything. They played big online all the time. And Greggy got 5th, so he final table bubbled the 4 max.
Yeah.
And Timothy got 7th when Greg won the 6 max 10K.
That's wild.
And then they both went deep in the main. But
Well,
yeah, from
where were we
Helmy's
going?
One of them won it.
perspective,
One of them got second.
Greggy he didn't do anything all series, played cash, and then he won the last 2 tournaments of the series. He won the 10K 6 max in the main and just stole Player of the Year from Helmy.
That's what I was going to say. It was a very similar resume to Ben the year before. So he just like hops in the 10K 6 max, wins it somehow, gets deep in the main, is down to a fucking anti-chip with like, I don't know, like 3 tables left, 4 tables left?
No, I think it was like with 60 or 70.
Okay.
I think it was
So like
going
day
into
7.
6. Like he bagged day 6 with like an ante.
Okay. I thought, no. I remember watching the coverage. I think it happened like midway through a day somewhere.
I remember AMAC telling me that he had him at his table the next day and he had like no chips and he was like, I watched that spin up. It was crazy.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah.
So he had like, I don't know, somewhere between an anti-chip and 1 blind.
That's why I left 1K behind when I bluffed it all off that year.
Landon legitimately bagged 1 big blind.
I bagged less. It's 1,500 big blind. I bagged 1,000.
Was that your very first main event?
Second main.
Second main
No.
event.
I was like 2 tables away from you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're getting
yeah.
a massage. This is why I call Jesse the massage lord.
Yeah. That's the one tournament that I show up to on time. I'm going to need a massage to get through the day.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I probably should. Honestly, it's funny. I think me now plays differently than me then. But I've called Queen Jack suited versus a big blind 3-bet like last hand of the night, and I've got a good board to ravage it off, and I did. But I left chips behind because I was just like
Chip.
I left literally one. I left a 1K chip behind, and it was just like, yeah. I mean, I might just draw the button and get it to spin, but if I jam, I'm out.
I love it.
I drew the button, which was good, and then I got A6 off, which was good, and then I lost, which was bad.
Hey, you did what you could.
I did what I could, and I'm gonna do it again this year.
Bro,
I'll bag 1 chip if I need to.
the lore of the 2012 Helmuth Merson is so much worse than you could imagine because it was November 9 back then, right?
Yeah.
So Helmuth knew that it was going to be a sweat, went to Europe, won.
Oh, that was what happened. Yeah, he won.
He won
World
the
Series
fucking
Europe main.
WSOP Europe
To
main.
retake it.
To retake the
Phil
lead.
Hellmuth did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
won the main event.
And
Yeah, it
Greggy
was
could
sick.
only take it back by winning the main event.
I totally forgot about that. It's insane.
He fucking wins the main event to dethrone Helmuth.
Actually, before he won the main,
That's insane.
Esfandiari was in first. And I remember that because I did some of the final table coverage. I was in the booth for Helmuth's final table at Europe.
Yeah.
And Esfandiari was in the booth. And every time Helmuth got there in hand, I just look over Esfandiari, he's just rolling his eyes because Helmuth needs stone first there to overtake it.
Right.
Thinks he got the dub, and then we actually had. So Vanessa was coaching me for the final table. When we went to 3-handed,
Legend.
she
Sick
texted
coach.
Phil and she's like, "How many bottles of Dom will Jesse get if he knocks Greggy out of this final table?" So we had a little free roll going there.
That's nice.
Yeah.
You love to see it.
What an FT coach, by the way, Vanessa.
Oh, she was great.
Yeah.
What advice did she have for you?
Ravage.
Just rifle it
What
off.
did she say to you?
Vanessa's advice at the table was so invaluable. I really liked her advice away from the table too, but at some point, this is like my best example, but at some point she realized that Jakey, when he was on like between like 20, let's say like 27 and like 38 blinds or so, every time I opened button, or basically like when he's in the blinds against an open, he would just rip like jacks, ace king, whatever. But then he was like small 3-betting like queen 10-0 and like all these combos.
Oh, he was just bluffing.
All these bluff combos. Yeah. So like after like the 3rd time that happened, this is why having like someone relaying the information from the delayed stream is like having a smart person is so important because they need to filter all of this information and give you like the important stuff. Vanessa pulls me over and she's like, "Yo, Jake is doing this. Like every time he 3-bets, you should just 4-bet. Like you have like if he has aces, like so be it. But
Very
you know,
Vanessa. Yeah.
he's just got like so many queen 10, queen jack offsuit combos. He doesn't have jacks, He probably doesn't have 10s, like all that stuff. He
The
doesn't have
induced
ace-king.
range isn't protected by worse value than aces.
Yeah, so like
Or kings. Probably.
if you watch that footage back, I look like a psycho because I'm 4-betting like 5 deuce suited. I 4-bet jam king 3 off at one point, but I'm just like steamrolling these 3-bet pots because there's just like a huge flaw in the strategy there. That alone was probably worth like $1 million.
When we were trading Russ for the final table, the scouting report on Jakey.
Who is Jakey?
Or Jake.
Who is-
Jake Balsinger, he got
Balsinger.
third. We call him Jakey because that was like their chant for him. But
Got it.
He's a great dude, by the way. I still
Really nice kid, yeah. But our scouting report on him is drastically overplays small pairs.
Oh wow!
So like we just like went into the final table expecting him to just be like yeeting it for 30 plus with like 5s.
Yeah.
Which actually might not even be bad, but at 2012, like that was unheard of.
Yeah, exactly. It
was kind of like the Kata approach.
I specifically had an argument, a debate with Jake about if you're in the big blind and the button opens and you have 3s in the big, what's the shallowest stack where you don't jam?
Right.
And I was arguing peeling because I like
we were cash
post
guys.
flop or whatever. Yeah. And Jake was like, no, you just obviously shove. And then with the advent of solvers, it turns out I was very wrong and Jake was completely right. But
well, we were all on your side and we were like, this motherfucker just shoves way too much.
Oh, like just jamming like 3s for 30, like 3s for like. I stand with him. I remember in the 3K Turbo when I jammed 3s cutoff or small line versus cutoff, and Matt or like
torch.
Couple, you were like, oh, torch.
He was at a table with fucking 7 mouth breathers and the best player left in the tournament. 7 mouth breathers
and the 6 max.
4 mouth breathers and the best player left in the tournament. And he jammed on the best player left in the tournament who had aces and then won.
Who's the best player left in the tournament?
I don't remember.
I forget who won. Or Nino Ullman is who it was. But he opened and he was going to open infinite wide. So I jammed and we look at it now like 2 years later. It's like, no, it's just a good jam. I was ahead of the time. Ahead of my curve.
Let's go.
What was your CSA, Conrad?
I thought you had to leave, actually.
No, we got plenty of time.
Yeah, I realized.
What time's your restart?
Noon.
Are
That's
you in
right,
the money?
baby. I did make the day 2. No, we're in the bounty, though.
Let's go.
Oh, the bounty's before the money.
He's not in the money.
So there's like
I like
20% of the field left, 15 pay. So
This
like
is
60 people or so.
I will say it is consistent with classic WSOP Online, where like WSOP Online mystery bounty structures, you do not need to be in the money before getting to the bounty portion.
I like it. I'm with it.
You max and like you wait a little bit and like you wait 2 levels and like you're in the bounty portion.
I'm with it. I drew Negrano to my left.
That'll be
right.
Welcome to the vlog.
What a fucking sim we live in.
I can't believe it hasn't
Oh
happened
my
yet.
God! You remember the 300K year when Negrano and Doug were peak
right next to each
beefing and
other.
they sat next, and Doug had the
Morake is better shirt.
yeah, he just
He
takes
just
off
pulls
his
the shirt
hoodie.
out.
I'm not that petty. I'll just ignore him for an entire day.
That'd be hard to do.
It won't. It really won't. If I can ignore drunk airball, Lynn, and Doug chirping in my fucking ear simultaneously, I'm certain I can ignore Daniel's ego to my left.
I wonder what the odds are that you're going to show up on his vlog.
Very high if I don't break his selfie stick first.
I really love that we've haphazardly gone over the history of the Player of the Year race, or like the highlights.
We're continuing down this path. I was prepped for this today.
Yeah, but I don't know if you meant to like go over the whole history.
Oh, I
of
did.
it. Oh, really?
Oh, I did.
Oh, that was a very smooth way to go about it. 'Cause I thought we just sort of landed on it without.
I mean, you transitioned into it sooner than I would have liked. I was going to cover the ladies event and stuff like that, but we'll put that at the end. I'm a free flowing host.
You
You
work
want to
with
take
what you
me there?
get.
We're going to go there, you know?
All right, let's do it.
Jesse, Mr. I don't want to talk about Player of the Year.
So Scott's obviously done something that's only been done a handful of times in the past. 5 other players have won 3 bracelets before.
How many points is 400?
What do you mean?
Like Jeremy is 400 points away from winning.
Like,
Oh,
he's
I
saying
see.
like if you like win a tournament, how many points do
It's
you get?
very difficult for me to understand. Like even just looking through the history, there are times where like Jay's year, he won it with 2,100 points. A couple years ago, it was like 4,000 and some. It looks like it's going to be well over 5,000 this year.
For what it's worth, they didn't have high rollers back then, did they?
No, I mean they had the PPC.
Sure, the 50K, right?
Yeah,
But they didn't have
they also had the either the little one or the big one. Sorry, I'm using the wrong phrasing. They had the big one for 1 drop, and it was either 100K or $1 million.
Okay, so they had a high roller back then,
They
which
won.
counted for
They had one
POI.
every year. Yeah.
Right, but now there's the 100K, there's the 250K, there's the 50K, 25Ks. Like there's
Let me present you Jeremy Auspus's case.
Right. He's like, hey, I just ran deep in every tournament I've played this year.
It's
so
truly
I should win.
magical and sick what's happening. So Scott's obviously leading right now with 3 bracelets and about $1 million in cashes. Jeremy's second with I think like 5 or 6 final tables. They're 1 cash apart. Scott's cash 10, Jeremy's cash 9. He might even have 7 final tables. 0 wins. 0 wins at this point, but like 3.4 million in cashes.
Yeah.
It's almost triple what Scott is cashed for.
I'm pretty sure he got a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th.
I think you're right.
But that's why the player of the year race being like a point system is kind of cool to me, because if it was just based on straight cashes, then the main event winner would always win it.
Yeah.
But instead we've got this like, and don't get me wrong, I have issues with the
calculated system.
Yeah, with the way they go about it. Like, okay, so my biggest gripe is in the new era of the system, we had a summer where, and I even said before the summer, I was like, if you have a guy who wins the Millionaire Maker, the Monster Stack, and like final tables the main, they're like not going to win the player of the year, but that's clearly the player of the year.
Do we know
that year Joe Cata won the 3K shootout,
when
the
he won
closer,
the main?
which is a massive event.
Yeah, massive field.
This is when he won
got
the
like
main.
5th in the main.
Oh, this is when he final tabled the main.
Yeah, and he was like 3rd or 5th on the player of the year. Like Deeb won like a 25K PLO and final tabled something else and won it. And it was just like,
I remember that year. It was 2018.
yeah. It's like, who's the real player of the year that year? Like, clearly it's Joe Cata.
What if it just went down to like a voting system? You know, I feel like Scott would just win in like a voting system way.
Well, yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean, like, that's not all that
We don't want
important.
voting systems.
Wait, was that the year that Cata did well? Because I'm looking at the player of the year, and it was between Hennigan and Deeb coming down the stretch. They were like 50 points apart.
Was Cata in the top 10?
No.
I think he should have been in the top.
Maybe this was prior to the main event playing out. That's the only thing I could. Yeah, because like I clicked on. So I'm looking at a Poker News article and they hyperlink to that year, but the article that's hyperlinked for 2018 is prior to it completing.
Oh.
So it's like July 13th, 2018, which may have been before the closer finished and before the main event finished. In which case there was probably a huge shuffle.
Yeah.
Towards the end stretch.
Do you know what the formula is for POI or no? Is it just secret?
No, we know. It's
Is it just secret?
it's never.
I mean, the golden ratio is secret, right?
It's just
never
Negranu in
easy.
the back being like, I will determine this at my own leisure.
Right.
Yeah, you get like something point
There's
X.
a calculator on the site. But essentially
If
they
nobody knows it's
they
fair,
changed
right?
it so that only one online event counts this year.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of like what we had with Ian last year.
What do you
where
mean only one? Like they only take one score
They
for
take
you?
your best online.
Which Jeremy
result.
has a almost final table in the 5K.
Yeah, but it can't be worth much.
I know.
It was worth 2.2 buy-ins or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Jeremy final table the online 5K?
He almost
No,
did.
he and I bubbled it.
Yeah. They were close.
Oh, wow.
I was in there too. Just chip bled from fucking bubble all the way down to 15, get 13th. No big deal.
No big deal.
No big
What am I
deal.
doing out here? Who knows? No one can really figure it out.
Well, you basically won the event last night in the cash game, so.
That is true. Thanks for the perspective, Jesse.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
We smashed
Yeah, you
We
win
did
player.
smash.
You win Bobby's player of the year.
Okay, appreciate that.
Bobby's player of the series.
The most insane one of all to win.
Yeah. Eggs and rice.
Before we dip
Is that
back
the prize?
into this year,
His prize.
before we dip back into this year, there was the 2019 race too. I don't know if you guys remember this one, where D-Negs was officially crowned the player of the year.
Yes.
And then Robert Campbell just snatched it out from underneath
How did
him.
that even happen?
They calculated it wrong.
Yeah,
right?
it was a
Yeah.
misreported result from somewhere throughout the course of the summer. Let me see. There was an apparent error that was pointed out by Alexander Elsky, live reporter for the Russian poker news platform Gypsy Team. So it looks like in event 68 that year, the results were not correct from 32nd place down to 46th place. And somehow within this, it altered the Player of the Year race. I'm trying to look through. Oh, D-Neg's got 36th. Oh, sorry. It had Daniel finishing 36th, but it was actually Max Silver who got 36th. So I guess that bumped him down a pay grade or a point scale or something like those lines. And it ended up being like a 1 point differential.
There was a really funny poker news or some source.
It actually kicked Daniel down to third. Deeb then laddered him also to get second. Yeah.
So I remember it was a heated race between Deeb and Negreanu.
They all went to Europe.
Yeah, they had this article about it where basically they found this issue with the calculation, and they're like, okay, Deeb moves up or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was like Deeb and Negreanu are talking all this trash or whatever, and then it's like clearly very important to those two, right?
Right.
And then all of a sudden when they realize something else, and they're like, oh, this guy, what is it, Hunter?
Rob Campbell.
Yeah.
Robert Campbell.
Yep.
They're like, Robert Campbell from Australia is actually the Player of the Year, and it was like when Robert Campbell was asked to comment, he said, I don't care. It made me so happy that like just like this guy swoops in out of nowhere.
He's like, yay.
Yeah, so it looks like Daniel was given 213 points for cashing an event that he did not cash. So it looks like they accidentally reported as Daniel Negreanu finishing 36, whereas it was actually Max Silver. So he had those 213 points stripped from him. And then they began to recalculate the Player of the Year, which actually led to Robert Campbell finishing in first place with 39.61, while Deeb had 38.61. And I remember that they were all grinding it out pretty hard in Europe. I imagine it probably would have changed Sean's strategy. I can't really recall too well what the details were, but I mean, they had to have known Robert was there, right?
Yeah, he must have been close. I do remember complaints about I would have done something differently in the last tournament. I don't remember if it was Sean or D-Negs, but it was like if I knew what the points were, it would have changed how I played, like, you know, different stages of in the money because it's worth more points to fold or whatever.
Somebody in the chat said Deeb probably would have won back-to-back if he had made a fold versus Elke in the European main final table bubble because he thought he needed a higher finish than 9th in order to pass him. But yeah, I mean, pretty fucking wild. Like, those are the 2011, 2012, 2019 years. Those are the 3 years where it really stands out to me. The ones that I don't really recall, but actually were a lot closer than I think we realized was the last time somebody. So, to his credit, George Danzer won 3 bracelets in 2014. One just happened to be, I think, in Asia. This is whenever they were rotating between like Europe, Asia, Australia for the winter one. But the last time somebody won 3 in a single series was Jeffrey Losandro in 2009. 3 stud variants. I think he won high-low, the 10K championship maybe, and then Raz. But that year was actually close between him and Ivy. If Ivy Ivy final tabled the main after having won a bracelet prior. And I was reading this earlier. It was super tight, but even if Ivy had won the main, he would have lost by 16 points.
That's sick.
Wow.
Which is pretty fucking sick. Imagine Ivy wins 2 bracelets, one of which is the main event in 2009. That was the Kata year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
Man.
By the way,
so crazy. Was that the year he misread his Ivy misread his hand at the final table and had a flush with pocket 8s and folded?
I think that was pre-final table, but I think so.
Yeah.
It was pre-final table.
Okay. Yeah.
By the way, I think the last guy before Losandro to win 3 bracelets in a year might have been Ivy.
I believe he definitely did it. Whether he was the one previous to him or not, let me check Chad's.
Yo, if anyone
tweet.
can do 4, it's Seaver, by the way.
He's going to do 4. I'm so sure of it.
I'm with you. Like,
I'm so sure of it. I don't know if he's playing online much. Dude, I played yesterday with him. He was at my starting table in the 10K, and he is such a fucking lunatic. Like, I'm such a big. First of all, I sit down and I congratulate him, and the first thing he says is like, I mean, you know, I'm no slouch, but I'm not Rast. Because,
nice.
yeah.
Because when we were debating,
part of the reason I said Rast when we were picking people is because I just knew somehow it would get back to him and it would tilt him.
So all I hear is, oh, you watch.
Yeah.
Rast over me?
Bro, Scott sees everything.
Yeah.
Scott is like omnipotent.
He's a lunatic. He plays this pot where he has the ace of hearts on a 4 Broadway board with 3 hearts. And he's playing against this Canadian guy who Scott bets like 15K on the river, and the guy just jams for like 300, which at the time is like 100 bigs. And they're really close in chips. And Scott's like so seething mad because he has the ace of hearts in his hand. So he has the Broadway, and he knows he blocks the nut flush. And he's like, the fuck are you doing? Like, he's so mad. He's like, you just have some shitty flush. You think I'm just going to call it off with a straight? Like, just yelling at this guy, right? But in good fun. And the guy's just trolling back. He's so good. He goes, I'm sorry. I'm dyslexic. And like, so Scott folds the ace of hearts face up, and the guy shows ace king of diamonds. He goes, oh, I'm sorry. I'm dyslexic. I thought I had a flush. And Scott's like, you will not escape this table alive.
Wow.
So it turns into this like running joke. And like something happens where Scott basically tells him like if he had folded this spot, he would have been absolved of his sins. And then so Scott opens later and he folds his button. He goes, "Am I absorbed? Am I absorbed yet?" Oh my god! It was the best table banter of all time. Like, I enjoy playing with him so much. I wish, honestly, tournaments would be fun if somehow No Limit could steer. From there, I get moved to Stevie's table, and all of a sudden, I feel like I'm in a prison cell. It's just like, and he's the fucking warden. He just has all the goddamn chips. He's sitting there as tall as can be, not saying a word. We're kind of like loosely talking about the schedule and cheating and stuff like that.
Does he still have the stash?
The stash is incredible.
It's the greatest mustache.
It true. I did not give it enough credit. I was talking about someone else's mustache and how much better I thought it was than Stevie. The curl at the end is so pristine. Yeah. I mean, it's just incredible. He's world class. He runs like Christ. He's impossible to beat. I tried bluffing him. That's a huge error. Just big error.
You don't get a bluff through on Stevie.
It's impossible. Ever. First of all, he's good. He's too good. And secondly, of course he has the fucking nuts. Like, you're just bluffing into the blade every time. If he's checking, it's because he can win the pot that way. You know, it's not to give up. What are you doing, man? I'm just punting off 20 blinds to this guy. Like, I think he bagged like $1 million or some shit coming back to 4K. Oh, or 8. Maybe we come back to 8K? Come back to 8K. 6K? 6K?
How many chips
maybe.
do you have, Matt?
I have 233,000.
Then you come back to 8K because you said you had around 30 bigs.
Yeah, that's right.
What did you start with?
60. 60, 40.
Do you know how much a bounty is worth?
I think the 10Ks are generally 60.
Not surprised.
I'll do the math when I get there. Well, I don't know how much of the field's left.
No.
I have to do some division.
Crunch some numbers.
But yeah, just kind of like talking it over with Scott, like, he's fucking sick in the head. He's jittery. He's clearly fueled by spite and caffeine. There's no shot he slept a fucking wink in the last 33 days. He will play everything. He busted that. I gotta like, I offered him a swap whenever I had like 3-1 chips to his because I doubled through him in a flip, and I was just like, "You're just running so good. I feel like I can give this disparity here." And he's like, "No." And then we got a little bit closer and we swapped 1%.
1%.
It's worth it
for the morale.
Only final table, only 100K bounties are better. And you know what? I'll be happy to pay him. I feel 1% of the 1.5 million that I strip away from this goddamn prize pool.
I feel like if this was the case, you should have swapped more because like no one ever pays on this swap.
What do you? No, I'm gonna pay.
Right.
I'm going to win the event. I'm gonna pluck the 500K bounty.
I hope you do.
Okay. Well, when I hand Scott $15,000. As he's sitting in this guest chair, because what I heard when he said Rast is better than me is, oh, you watch. Therefore,
the Scotty Boom Bots one in.
Therefore, you will attend.
This is the ultimate Jordan moment. Like and then I took it personally.
Right.
Like it was literally him walking around the locker room like Jimmy Butler, fucking yelling, "Tobias Harris over me." He's like, "Rast over me."
Rast. It's true. It's true.
he did-
Rast enjoyers are malding right now.
He did qualify it. He did qualify by saying, well, he's actually going to win the 25K PLO, which he's currently chip
Got a
leading.
lot of chips.
He's currently chip leading, I think, going into day 3. Is that accurate? Or is it day 2? I think it's day 3. I'm
Wait a
pretty
minute. For what it's
This is
worth,
definitely
No, I
day
think
3.
it's, I think
Or
it's
4.
day 4.
It's either day 3 or 4.
It might be day 4. Wait, day 2. I think when I was commentating, it was day
Johnny
2.
got knocked out 12th, so there's.
Okay, yeah. So they're
by-
coming up to the final table. And
Yeah.
Rast is chip leading. Of course he is.
Wow.
so I mean, for what it's worth, Scott, we didn't know how much he was going to play. But it's you know,
No, if anybody actually
That's what I
looked,
said.
We're just dumb. If anybody looked, he wrote it on his Twitter that he's going to go crush
No,
people.
but
he did that after the fact.
And
It
he's
wasn't-
also done that in the past, and he's double dipped. And I defended us. I was like, listen, man, I was just simply saying that you are lunatic enough to play both cash and tournaments as you have for the last 10 years. And, you know, for the exact same price, I'll take the guy who's a goddamn genius only playing one. Now, had I known you were angry this year,
he should have added in a tweet, and I'm mad.
I would have paid extra to choose you over Rast.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
like you know the meme where Shaq's like, "Apologies, I wasn't familiar with your game."
Yeah.
So Ryan, Rast is actually coming in 4 or 5.
Okay.
David Eldridge has the chip.
Wait, there's only 5 left?
Yes.
Oh, sick. Okay,
He's in
yeah.
4th now?
Yep. David Eldridge has the chip lead. He has 23 million to
How do I know David
17, 12, 9, and 8.
I know
That's
that name.
not Deldar, is it?
I don't think.
They're playing.
I think
for,
that was David Eldar, but
David. Oh, wait, that's not Diamond Dave from Pittsburgh, is it?
I don't know who Diamond Dave is.
Bro, you don't know
You're
about
looking the wrong fucking way.
You don't know about Diamond Dave. Let me do some
Diamond
fucking
Dave
research
from
here.
Pittsburgh and shit. What are you talking about?
Conrad.
Anyway, first is 2.2 million. They're playing
Wow.
for a lot of dollars.
Isn't this the tournament that Jesse won last year?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
I
he
did not win this.
No, sorry,
Lonus.
not Jesse.
No, he won the
Yeah, that's goddamn Diamond Dave, motherfucker.
What does that mean, though?
Bro, you don't know about Diamond Dave.
Nobody does.
Shut
Only-
up to Diamond Dave. Let's fucking go, baby. The kids are leading the goddamn way.
Is he one of the Pittsburgh guys who used to come out and start the 5100 PLO every summer?
I don't know.
Who is he?
He was once upon a time a giga whale.
You're just screaming.
Well, look, I'm sending Guapa.
You're like me right now.
I'm sending Guapa the link so
Yeah,
he
let's
can
get this
pull up his
picture
picture.
up.
You guys will recognize him. Once upon a time, he was a giga whale in the Pittsburgh underground scene.
Nice.
He has since learned how to play poker, or
Giga
at
whale.
least the tournament variety. I'm sure he's not gonna like me saying that, but like, look, man, we built games around you. You know, we built fucking games. The Matrix game, you know, that was the Diamond Dave Invitational. All right, like we were there trying to chop you up, but
Wow,
now.
coast to coast starting games around him.
Now my guy is out here just shipping shit. He's leading. Look at that, Cranberry Township. That's Pittsburgh, PA, baby. There he is.
I know this dude.
You know Dave. We all know Dave.
Yeah.
Dave's a goat.
We all.
He's a goat.
The goat.
He's God, win this fucking thing. The games will get good again.
That's why he's the goat. I was playing with Goat yesterday. He's like, you're landed, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, Joe T. I'm like, nah, you're the goat. He's like, sometimes.
That's so good.
Oh shit, Dave! If you win this, I got a seat for you at the Bellagio. Hit me up, homie. We got 1-2 popping off.
I mean, there's a lot of money for 5th, right?
I was gonna say
That's true.
I don't
That
think he
is
has
true.
to win.
That is
I
true.
think he's all right.
I'm happy for him.
I think he wants in.
I'm very happy for him. I'm happy for all the guys back home.
So he plays No Limit and PLO.
So most of the games back home shifted to PLO. I'm not sure when that occurred. It's long after I left, but yeah. When I say we used to build games around, I'm talking like 2005. So you know, a lot's happened.
He's
between
improved.
then and now.
You're now familiar with his
It's been
game.
20 years. Yeah, he's certainly gotten a lot better. He's no slouch any longer. Anyway, back to Seaver.
He's getting up there.
Back to the Seaver lore this year. So currently in this Player of the Year race with Osmus, he's only winning by I think 400 points, as Landon said. Literally any deep runs are going to shift this one way or the other, and Osmus is not fucking slowing down. This guy's an animal.
He really
I
is.
mean, truly remarkable to be that close in contention with somebody who's won 3 bracelets, having won 0 this year.
Yeah, that's insane.
And I don't like. Do we think that this speaks to the scoring system in some capacity, or is this just like consistency wins?
He just has that many final tables, though.
Right.
He does have a lot. I don't love how much the higher stakes are weighted. I think that it's better to have a system where the players who are capped in buy-in still have a chance at winning Player of the Year. Like if you win three 1500s, I think you should be able to win Player of the Year, and I think that's nearly impossible with the way that the system's set up.
Okay, I didn't.
It's always the top. The top is always guys who play like the high stakes mixed whatever stuff. Which I'm all for mixed being a big determinant.
Well, last year that was not. Last year that wasn't true, right? Like Ian Matakis won it, pretty much playing an ABI of around 5K. I would say he had a lot of good scores online. I think he won at least one bracelet online, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Actually, I can just pull it up really quickly.
I know he had like
he won one bracelet last year.
Of 6 maxes.
He won one. He made 3 final tables last year. And he had like over $1 million in cashes. But I think he went deep into 25K PLO at the series, but I think that was also his biggest buy-in.
Okay, that's fair then.
But that they immediately changed the scoring system this year.
Oh yeah.
Right? They immediately eliminated the online stuff.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, he ran deep and or he final tabled a bunch of stuff online, but like what the equivalent of a 1K online is like a 10K live kind of thing. You know, if you're doing the 1-to-1s, and I think the scoring system was probably similar to that. In any event, though, like I understand what you're saying. Like the Kata example that you gave, I think is a good one, right? Where he just does the impossible and runs deep in 2 massive field events, and then wins another. You know, the 3K 6 max is still like 1,500 players.
Well, he won the 3K shootout.
Sorry, shootout.
But he won the closer too, which is like, what did that get? Like 4,000 people
probably,
or something?
Yeah, just infinite.
Yeah, and then he took 5th in the main, which is insane.
It's the main time again. It's here we are, and here comes Twitter with all of their people wanting to make bets. Dan Zach is back.
We can talk about that tomorrow because I'm very excited for the preview of the main event.
I just laughed because I saw
We also get to talk about the Poker Hall of Fame because there's been 10 names listed on who's going to go in.
Okay,
how many
save that for tomorrow. Just one.
Yeah.
Man, I saw the Dan Zach tweet. It's just like you can pick 75 people. If they cash your 1.5x to buy in, you win.
Yeah.
And then Harv just puts Jeremy Osmus times 75. I'd like 75 Jeremys.
Both of you guys, please send those links to the podcast assets so we can cover it either tomorrow or Thursday. But yeah, back to what you were saying, Jesse. You were correct. Ivy was the last one to win 3 in 2002.
He's another guy who, when he wins 3, you're like, he could win 4.
Think about that.
Seaver could win 4.
Think about that. Ivy was so Lissandro did it in 2009. Ivy was the last one to do it prior in 2002, and that was pre-Moneymaker Boom. Wow. So imagine like
that's crazy.
Going back now, Helmuth did it in 93. Puggy Pearson did it in 73. Ted Forrest did it in 93 as well.
Yeah,
Two people did it in 93.
There were 7 people in every
Literally,
event.
Puggy won a 1K no limit event where first place was like $9,000.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not taking anything away from him.
Of course,
but, you know, it's sitting.
Not the same thing.
Scott's winning like the smallest field that Scott won probably had a couple hundred people in it.
Yeah. Phil Helmuth and Forrest both did it in 93. But again, similar thing. Like neither of them cashed for more than like $500,000 that year. Might even been less. Might have been like 300,000. Let me see. Actually, I have it right in front of me because Chad Holloway's the best. Okay, so Helmuth's bracelets in 1993, 5K no limit for 138K, 1,500 no limit for 161K, 2,500 no limit for 173K. So roughly $500,000 in cashes.
Wow.
Has the game grown?
Ted Forrest that same year, first place in 1,500 Omaha High-Low for 120, 1,500 limit Raz for 77, and 5K 7-card stud for 114. So like just about 300K in cashes to win 3 bracelets.
Yeah, that's
Puggy Pearson first in the 10K main event for 130,000.
Nice.
The main.
Yeah, the main.
Okay.
130.
Different times.
This is the 4th annual World
13
Series
buy-ins
at this point.
You win in the main.
13 buy-ins.
What was it? Winner take all?
Might have been. Actually, may have been. Truthfully,
I want to go look at that.
First in the 4K weird buy-in choice limit 7-card stud, $28,000.
What year was that?
1973.
Okay.
28K 7 buy-ins.
4K.
Yeah.
That's such a cool.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like the only even number price
Yeah.
point you're gonna see above 2K ever.
And finally,
At 10K.
event number 6, the 1K No Limit Hold'em. First place, $17,000. Puggy Pearson's total winnings, including the main event, $175,000
I mean, he might have been down that year with cash games.
for sure. Almost certainly.
Hello.
That's wild.
Almost certainly.
Wow,
So
this
it's
is
changed.
crazy. There was only like 5 events on the schedule back then. In 1972, there was 2.
Yeah.
There was a limit, a 7-card stud, I think it was, and the main event.
I mean, this is the history of the game. Like, it was all brand new. You gotta pay homage to what was.
Yeah, no,
and
Slim-
how far we've come.
Yeah, Slim won the main for 80K, winner take all.
Sure.
Slim. Do you
Love
guys
to
know
see
the sign that Puggy had on his RV that he used to live in?
No.
I might quote this wrong, but it was like he had this sign outside of his RV. It said, I'll play any man from any land at any game that he can name for any stakes that he can take. I don't remember the rest, but
That's
he was
more
basically
than
at an
good
open
enough.
invitation at the door of his home.
Love it.
Like, just come on in and we'll play heads
It's
up or
basically an
whatever.
invite to just come get cheated.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just a cheaters man game back then. Who could cheat the other better? I think.
Yeah. There might have been a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
That's why he would play any man from any land in any
That's right.
game.
That's absolutely right.
Hold on, I got it.
The game is not cheating. All right, I won't play that game.
All right. I'll play any man from any land, any game
That he can name.
for an amount I can count, provided I like it.
That's it.
I like that. Wow,
Provided
that's
I like
incredible that you just ad-libbed a line that's actually not in there and rhymed it.
Berkey, this brain is filled with non-important knowledge.
Any stake that you can
Completely
take.
useless
No,
knowledge.
but the any stake he can take, like you just ad-libbed that.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
That's incredible.
I'm a rapper, bro.
You're a lyricist, bro.
That's bars. Jesse's got the
Absolute lyricist. All
Get at
right.
me, Thesaurus.
We were
Let's go.
flow. Jesse versus the Saurus.
We were gonna play a clip, but we don't have the time for it. But I do want to discuss this with you while I have you in studio. The decision by Scott to pat behind in this 3-way all-in situation.
That's so
I kind of
juicy.
got his thoughts a little bit on it at the table yesterday, but I'm interested to hear your take on it. So basically, the way it works is Seaver was all in with a pat 10. He had 10-7-5-3-2. Harmon then called off all in behind with 10-9-4-3-2. And Krella, who ended up getting second, tanked for quite a bit of time. And then you don't have to play this.
I'm just gonna use B-roll.
Yeah. Krella then tank calls off with 10-9-7-6-4 and then remains pat. And I don't know shit about shit, but I assume in Krella's shoes, what's happening is he has kind of like a bad 10 and is just hoping they'll both break behind. And then he just captures the EV of a 3-way all-in spot.
Yeah, definitely. I think that. So okay,
Like he would never overcall here and then break.
I mean, he could. I'd have to look at the math behind it. There's a chance he could like overcall with a really strong draw, like something like what Seaver has if he didn't have a 10, if he had like a queen.
Yeah. Right. And then draw one.
Because these 3-ways, like trying to make the absolute nuts is really nice. But
Is this like it's quote unquote solved-ish, or are people just guessing?
it's solved.
It's definitely solved.
Like,
Yeah.
is calling with the 10 behind is Krella correct?
I would need to like run a bunch of math. There's also like huge ICM considerations. So like
Right.
Scott's jam range should be tighter and her
Right.
call off range should be a lot tighter.
So does that make it so that you probably don't pay the 10, or you do?
I would imagine you're not paying the 10.
Like it's close.
Seaver said
but-
it's really close, and then in game if roles were reversed, he probably would have folded. But he thought the call was fine. He basically just insinuated that like
Wait, when did he say that? Because he told him in game like 19 times that he would have made the call and it was a great call and all that. And I was like, all right, man,
Yeah,
we
but
don't need
that's
to
just-
pander for this long. Dude.
that's just him being him. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
Scotty with bots is
That's
all
classic Scott.
But basically, he said that what he would have, or like basically one of the driving decisions behind him staying pat was that Krella took so long to call.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because it did feel like he might get a live tell. From
Yeah,
that.
basically, like he's marginal.
Yeah.
So if he has like a rough 10 that isn't going to break, you're ahead.
If he just has like a 9, would he just like beat them both in the pot?
I think so, and I think that's what Scott thought too.
And the thing is people would say, he could just tank there to balance. But he took an not exceptionally. He took a little bit of an overly long amount
Also,
of time.
he was just very human about it. You could tell he was actually in thought.
Well,
it
and
wasn't
also,
faked.
when you're in this spot and you have let's say you have just an 8, it's just an easy all in, right?
Yeah.
You almost feel bad slow rolling people. So you
Right.
take a little bit of time to balance, but you don't take
like 30
time.
seconds to
Right.
like a minute.
Yeah,
For sure.
You're not trying to be a dick about it, basically.
And
Yeah, I assume, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I assume if he has an 8 there, them both breaking, a lot of the time, at least one of them, if not both, are just drawing dead.
Yeah. That's true for sure. It's weird, right, when you think about it, because
If he has an 8-6, a really high percentage of the time, they're both just kind of drawing close to
He
dead.
would
His
just,
equity's
snap, put the
so
chips
massive.
in, right? He would just call fast.
That's what I
It's
mean. If he knows that they can't even break and win,
yeah.
he's not gonna tank for balance sake.
Well,
Right.
you would tank for balance sake for a little bit at least, just so that they don't. Let's say they have a hand like Scott has, they don't break.
Well, I guess my point is even if he broke his 10, he's only gonna draw 1. So if he's up against an 8-6, he's still drawing dead. Because he had
Scott
10
was live versus an 8-6.
No, he had 10-7-5-3-2.
Yeah,
So if he draws 1,
he'd be drawing.
oh,
7.
right. Yeah, sorry, he's drawing to a 7.
That's why Scott's non-break there is so sick.
Right.
Because not only should he, without the live read, should he be dead quite often, I would imagine. But also he has a smooth 7 draw, so it's really enticing to break there.
Yeah.
Right. Spike the card, definitely win.
Yeah, he has if he had 7-6-4-3 where he can't hit the 5 because it makes a straight, that's
Right.
a big difference. He could still make an 8. He could still hit a deuce for 7, but he had a smooth 7 draw too. So it's that was one of the craziest.
Kind of
decision points
same
I've ever
situation
seen.
with Jennifer. She has a really nice 9 draw.
Yeah.
So it's a very easy decision for her.
Yeah.
And the way it turned out, if Scott had broken, he would have busted. He would have got the king. Who knows what Jennifer would have drew? We'll never know, but she's at least live.
Mm-hmm.
So effectively, this decision all but wins him the tournament. Yeah.
That was such a crazy decision. I feel it's so easy, barring the live tell, it's so easy to expect your opponent to always have a 9 or better.
Yeah.
If he calls and pats there.
But I think this is what defines Scott's greatness and his legacy, is that he's paying that close of attention.
Yeah, he is.
Right? He didn't just get all in and then just say, okay, by default, solver says break the 10, draw to a smooth 9 or a smooth 7, whatever. Instead, he's just Hawkeyeing everybody. Okay, is she going to break behind me?
By the way, he's Hawkeyeing everybody with 4 hours of sleep in the last 19 nights.
Right. Correct. You're absolutely correct.
If I don't get my 9 hours, I'm dust at the
For
table.
sure. I'm just autopiloting.
Yeah.
This is a man on a mission for sure. And I don't think little details like this should be overlooked. So it's going to be fun to watch this play out down the stretch. I'm pretty sure he hopped right into the big bet mix last night. Who knows what Jeremy's in? Probably on his way to another final table as we speak. Trying to hawk to a spit on that thing. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be the tagline of the summer. I would be remiss if we didn't give them their proper due. So before we get out of here, I do want to talk about the ladies event that came to a conclusion yesterday. Really incredible feat. Shina Okamoto of Japan ends up defeating Kerstetter heads up to better her performance from last year, where she got second in this exact same event.
That's nuts.
It's insane. Honestly, this won't get enough credit for how impressive of a feat this is. This is up there with Newhouse getting 9th 2 years in a row in the main. She even kind of Newhoused it, where she put a tweet out last year. It was her pinned tweet. And I'd quote tweeted it, and the simple translation of it was, I might not ever be so lucky as to finish this high in a tournament again, so I'm just so grateful for everything that happened, getting second place, yada, yada, yada. And then just snap wins the event. The next chance she gets the following year.
That's all you got to do. She earned it with the karma.
It's true, man. I did something similar. I said, hey, I got 14th in this 10K mystery bounty last year.
I was really grateful for it.
Anything but 14th, maybe now with the Seaver sweat, we can pull a top 10. I don't know. But Kerstetter, obviously fan favorite here, massive rail, including Conrad and the like. We were all pulling for her to win this one. She had a pretty remarkable exit interview with the one and only Jeff Platt, who, I'm not saying he's to blame for the second place or to credit, but maybe the powers that be, Platt being the doomsman that he is. Maybe she ran a little bad. Heads up. I don't know.
I'm gonna give this to you in just one sec. Jamie, let me start with you. So close. I know heads up didn't go how you wanted it to, but how would you sum up your overall run?
I was like crying happy tears earlier today. I'm so happy. I'm so proud of this, and you played awesome. So she deserves it. But also, she got second last year and then first this year.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible.
So I think next year I get first, and that's great news.
That's just the way it works. What did it mean to you to have this kind of support?
It's awesome. I mean, these are my friends. They've been forever, and it's really awesome. But she had quite the rail too, and they had to come pretty far.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, stay here with me for a quick sec. Sheena, from second last year, like Jamie said, to first this year, it's an honor of mine to present you with your first World Series of Poker bracelet. There it is. Let's hear it for our champion. Lon, there she is, our ladies champion, Sheena Okamoto, getting it done.
Jamie is the best.
Yeah, of course.
She really is.
Of course. Really wish she could have won it. Second place, though, no slouch. Speaking of that rail, you guys seem to have been led by one Caitlin Komeski in your cheers and your chants. I think we have a little bit of footage of.
Oh, great! I haven't seen this yet.
Yeah, of her,
it hasn't
handling
been
you
easy
guys.
being the first professional rail conductor. I've been met with a lot of challenges. 3 and a 2 and a let's go. Back to one. You got to make sure they stay hydrated.
Okay, that's all they're asking for. She's asking for. Okay, fine. Yes, if you can. She's literally asking for hundreds and thousands of years. Thank you. Okay. Don't worry. So, how many more then? 10 or 20?
A lot of hours on the rail, a lot of shouting. The throat can get dry. Try who let the dogs out? And a 1 and a 2 and a who let that dog out? A lot of people want to say poker is the hardest game. I think rail conducting is infinitely harder. Let's go, Jamie! I don't want to say I'm the reason she won, but I might be the reason she won.
Actually, I took second, and I told Caitlin to stay home.
It hasn't been easy being
It's so
the
good.
first professional rail
very good.
conductor.
And I told Caitlin to stay home.
Yeah, that was really good. Are we watching again? Run it back. You guys seemed like you were having a blast.
Yo, Jonte, the kid next to me, is one of the funniest fucks there is. And yes, we had a blast. It was great. The whole rail was fun.
I saw a moment, I don't know if it was in that video or another one, where you were just screaming like a madman and Jamie was like in a pot. And I've been there before, like especially with Lamanna drunk on the rail, where I'm like playing in a hand and I could almost see the eye roll like behind her closed eyelids, where
Wait,
it's
is Lamanna secretly an animal?
Bro,
I love that.
Well, that is the one.
He's a trash panda when it comes to these rails, man. He gets blinding drunk. Just black the fuck out.
Lamanimal.
I made a final table, I think 2 summers ago in the 2500, and I was chip leading like from like 30 down. And we had been doing the podcast, so he put a call to arms out to the podcast community. And a bunch of just like random viewers show up, and Lamanna's just beers on the rail.
Let's go.
Just doling them out, getting blacked out drunk. Some guy gave me a sheriff's badge for good luck. I think I actually still have it somewhere. It was incredible. Like, what a moment.
Yeah.
That guy deals somewhere. He gave me one too.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just a remarkable time.
Mild-mannered Lamanna.
Oh, he gets fucked up when he's on the booze. When he's on the sauce, whoo! Tortoise is not slow anymore.
Yo, how do people drink beer?
I don't know.
That shit sucks. I'm never drinking another
You
beer
were
again.
a mess last night.
Well, Conrad, they have a lot of different types and variations.
They
so,
suck.
if you don't like some,
It's
you can try other ones.
No,
Maybe
whiskey.
a lager,
Fair enough.
perhaps.
Just whiskey.
Perhaps
Just
a lager.
No whiskey on the rocks. No more of this beer shit. Never again.
Maybe a nice IPA.
That was miserable.
How are you feeling today?
I woke up, like, it felt like my brain was, like, dehydrated. It was, like, just getting sucked. Like, I literally just kept, like, throwing up since 5 o'clock in the morning. I didn't even throw up anything.
To be fair,
nothing.
Oh, this intro's making more sense now.
To be fair, yes. Yeah,
Quiet
he's hungover.
dude.
To be fair, Conrad throws up all the time. All the time.
Really?
I mean, he brushes his teeth and
like
he throws
after
up.
every meal, or what are we talking?
Yeah, maybe he might. That body might be due to a little bit of extra work, I guess. But
I mean, my man's got an 8-pack somehow.
I mean, when he's brushing his teeth, he's throwing up. When he's fucking sick, he's throwing up. When he has the sniffles, he's throwing up. Like, this guy's just always in the fucking
the inadvertent toothbrush diet.
Right.
He's not trying to do it, but when it happens,
it just happens to happen.
You actually might not be wrong.
Wow.
Oh, Christ.
That's fucking great.
All right. I got to make sure I get out of here and be responsible.
Please, man.
I've shown up late to day twos before. I'm going to try not to do it today. As always, thank you for joining us, Jesse. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you guys think and who you got for Player of the Year this year.
By the way, a bounty is worth $79K in chips, so about 1.2 buy-ins.
Okay. Okay, that's good to know. I saw Efro say that they're worth about $14K in the chat. Big shout out to Efro.
If I play this tournament or if Becker bagged, it wouldn't be that nasty because that's what the bounty was worth. It was only worth 1.2 buy-ins. I thought it was going to be worth more because normally in the money portion.
Right.
But it would have been a little bit cheaper.
Still
would have been annoying.
12K is 12K.
He wins 5 bounties, that's 50K.
All right. That's going to do it for us today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We're going to be in studio with Stapes tomorrow. Be sure to tune in. I imagine that one's going to be a fun one. Thank you guys as always. We'll be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Maybe 10 a.m. if I make day 3. We'll see you guys all then.
Later, squad.
Peace.